Hello, my name is Patrick Jones, and today I will be discussing why we should reduce the use of ventilators. What is a ventilator? A ventilator is also known as a breathing machine, and a ventilator is a machine that provides mechanical ventilation by moving air in and out of the lungs to deliver breath to a patient who is physically unable to breathe. When are they used? People usually will need to be on a ventilator when they are physically unable to breathe well enough to provide oxygen to the brain and body. This oftentimes includes car wrecks, surgeries, and lung diseases. Are they harmful? The longer people are on ventilators, the more likely they are to suffer lung-related injuries. 40 to 50% of patients die after being put on ventilators regardless of the illness. This chart shows how mechanical ventilation affects the lungs and in which steps that it affects. It can go from the mechanical ventilation to local inflammation to cell injury/death to multi-system organ failure, or it can go to barrier disruption, which will lead to pulmonary edema, and then it will circle back to having to be put on a mechanical ventilation machine. What has been done so far? So far, doctors have been putting people on ventilators too early, which increases the time someone is on a ventilator. This increases the odds of permanent lung damage and death. This chart shows how someone who is intubated, which is the blue part of the diagram, receives ventilator-associated pneumonia, and it shows the different parts of the tube and lungs which get infected, which will cause pneumonia. The solution. The solution to this problem is not to put people on ventilators, unless it is the last resort. This way, people have better odds of healing on their own and not having lung damage from ventilators. We could hold classes to help doctors understand when they do and don't have to put patients on ventilators. Feasibility. The feasibility of this solution is very simple. We could use better judgment on when we need to put someone on a ventilator. Only do so when it is a last resort. It costs no money and would be just a class or workshop type of information session among experts like other doctors and respiratory therapists to discuss when they should and shouldn't put people on ventilation. Why it's important we try to avoid ventilators when possible. It is important because 64% of people put on ventilators are kids, and in previous slides, if 40 to 50% of people put on ventilators die, no matter the illness, we are losing a big proportion of future generations. This picture shows a kid who recently was diagnosed with coronavirus and had no underlying symptoms, and then was put on a ventilator, and then he acquired ventilator induced pneumonia, and then he is now in a coma. Call to action. Ventilators should be used as a last resort. We need to hold workshops, type meetings for medical experts so they can better understand when they should and shouldn't put someone on a ventilator. A better ventilator practice will help save many children who are the future of this nation. And these are the references that help me provide the information. I appreciate you listening in and hope you have a better understanding on why we shouldn't use ventilators as often as we do. Thank you.